Hi, this is Linda Noss, teaching computer science online, and today I'm going to talk about what problem solving is. I created this little presentation here, and it is part of your announcements, and I don't know how many people have looked at this, but for those of you who struggle trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B in a program, hopefully this will help you. A lot of times when you're giving a program description and you're just told to go out and write the program, it can be very overwhelming because you don't know where to start. So what I'm trying to do here is give you a basic format for any program in any language or any problem actually you need to solve, whether it's programming or not. You can follow this basic format. So I'm going to go ahead and click here. Okay. So basically, problem solving is any kind of problem. It can be a problem in programming, or it can be a problem and I have to write a paper. Where do I start? Where do I end? It could be I'm planning my wedding. It's a large event, or and I need to know how to start and end that. And so basically, we have problems of all different kinds in our lives, and hopefully, you can use basically the same problem-solving process. So in programming, what you should always start off with is your description. Can you write, or can you format in your mind exactly what it is that you're trying to do? What is the problem you're trying to solve? If you can't answer this question, then you need to email me or email your instructor or whomever can help you out and figure out what exactly is this program supposed to do. Okay, so when you're writing your description, try to write it out fairly specifically. These statements can become your comments in your program, and my next video is going to be on comments. So the next thing you want to do is you want to gather your information. So the first thing you have to do in order to solve a problem is you got to collect your data. So basically ask yourself, what kind of information do I need to solve this problem? Do I need to go out and find wedding venues? Do we need to set a date? I'm taking as an example, let's say you're getting married. So, these are all things you have to start thinking about, and you have to break down all the different tasks, because if you think about all the tasks at once, it can be extremely overwhelming. So break it down one piece at a time. So what information do I need to research? Seek out and ask from, in this programming case, it would be from the user. So think about what you're going to need to do, and in order to do your process, what information are you going to need to solve the problem? For instance, a very simple problem is I'm buying carpet for our bedroom, and I need to know some things in order to do that. I need to know the length and the width of my bedroom. So that's the information I have to gather in order to solve that problem. And so that's basically my input. The next step in any problem solving process is process. So once you get the information you're looking for, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to come to a conclusion? What are the steps you need to take? In the case of my bedroom carpet, I need to find the area of my room. And I know the area is length times width. So that's my process. That's a very simple problem to solve. In the case of getting married, my process is, okay, I got to break down the tasks into all the different parts. I've got to find a wedding venue. I've got to find the right clothes to wear. I've got to figure out who we're going to invite, who's in the wedding party. So these are all different parts of the big event that you can break down and think about one piece at a time. I think people get very overwhelmed because they try to think of the problem as one big situation, where in most cases you can break down a problem into smaller parts and just concentrate on one part at a time, and that will help you do your process. And then once you get your process done, you're all set to tell everybody what the outcome is. So that, in our wedding scenario, would be the wedding day. The output is, now I've gotten everything planned and everything set up. Now I just have to show up and enjoy my day. So that would be your output for your wedding day. In the case of the carpet, for instance, it would be, now I got to go to Home Depot and buy the correct amount of carpet, and so forth and so on. So though that's your output. So in many cases, in a problem that you're given, it will tell you what the final product is. And so you can go back to your description at the beginning of this process and say, does my output match my description? And it should be fairly close. How am I going to present it? What do I need to print out? Do I need to print out a chart? Is it just in sentence form? Do I need to print it to a file? These are all things we'll learn how to do. So that's the output section. So think about this also. This is not a linear process. Sometimes you list some things for input, you list some things for process, and you list some things for output, and then as you're working your way through the problem, you realize that you need other input items. There's things that you thought about as input, and you didn't realize it at the time, so I'm going to go back and add those things to my input list. Sometimes when you're going through your process, you realize there's more detail to it than you thought there was. So you need to break it down even further and think about those if statements, or how am I going to use a loop, or when does the loop end, or when does it begin, or how many methods am I going to need. So that it's not a linear process. Another thing is you have to be willing to be wrong. Problem solving is very organic in that you come up with a solution, you test it, it may or may not work, and you're going to have to go back and tweak it. Tweaking is very important in problem solving. So it's not a one and done process. So you need to be willing to do that. You need to be patient with yourself. And patience is very important, because once you realize that you can be wrong and you can go back and fix any mistake you've made, then patience is the key to go back and do this process all over again, or to start to add things in you'd forgotten. So basically, when you start looking at a problem, does it just seem like it's overwhelming or too much? Are the waters muddy? So if you follow these steps, hopefully it will allow you to get started. Just think about what it is you're trying to solve, and then start thinking about your input, and you'll be able to do that. And believe it or not, you are going to have the aha moment, and it's going to be clear at the end exactly how you're going to do it. As long as you're willing to go back and tweak your information, you will get there. I hope this is helpful, and we'll talk to you next time.